Hey there, and welcome. So, today we're tackling a massive friction point in pretty much every workplace right now. You've got generative AI, which is moving at, warp speed. But our organizations? Well, they're often stuck in first gear. So, what happens when you drop a Formula One engine into a horse drawn buggy? Let's get in.
But let me ask you something and just think about it for a second. Your job, your team, does it feel like you're ready for this huge technological wave that's coming? Or does it feel kind of stuck? This isn't just some abstract idea, it's the reality for so many companies out there.
And right here, this is the heart of the problem. On one side, you have generative AI. It's fast, it's fluid, it's all about open access to information. And then on the other side, you have our workplaces. You know the deal. Departments that don't talk to each other, policies that just create roadblocks, and a culture that, let's be honest, often fights change. It's a total mismatch. So, let's put a name to this feeling. We're going to call it the AI acceleration problem. It's that grinding, frustrating friction you feel when this amazing new tech slams into old, slow ways of working. This is the nut we have to crack. And what does this problem actually feel like on a Tuesday afternoon? Well, it feels like organizational inertia, where a simple idea takes 6 months to get approved. It feels like bureaucratic bottlenecks, where the one piece of data you need is locked away in another department spreadsheet. And all of this leads to a very real thing called techno-stress, that feeling of being completely overwhelmed by the tools that were supposed to make your life easier. Sound familiar? All right, so if we want to fix this, we can't just slap a bandage on it. We've got to diagnose the root cause. We need to pop the hood and really figure out what's causing this engine to stall. And I think a great way to frame this is to think of it like a full-on medical checkup for your company. We're going to look at a bunch of different research studies, and each one is kind of like a report from a different specialist. One's the cardiologist, one's the neurologist, and they're all giving us a piece of this diagnostic puzzle. So check out what these specialists found. Salazar Concha's team, for instance, they literally mapped out how that feeling of techno-stress grows and evolves. And then you've got researchers like Chalaskan and Gokalp who pinpointed something we've all felt. Even when a new initiative is a good idea, we just don't trust how management is going to roll it out. When you put all these reports together, you get a really clear picture of a system that's under some serious strain. Okay, so we have our diagnosis. The organization is suffering from inertia, bottlenecks, and a serious trust issue. So, what's the prescription? Well, the research points to a really powerful treatment, something called knowledge management. Now, let's be super clear about what this means. Knowledge management, or KM for short, isn't just about having a shared Google Drive folder that's a total mess. No, it's a deliberate, systematic process. It's about how a company consciously collects all its wisdom, organizes it, makes absolutely sure the right people can find it, and then shares it so everybody gets smarter. And this is such a critical piece of the puzzle. You see, there are two kinds of knowledge. There's explicit knowledge. That's the what. It's the stuff you can write down in a manual or a database. But then there's tacit knowledge. That's the how. It's the intuition, the experience, the gut feelings that your seasoned expert has. A truly great KM system needs to handle both. Okay, so now for the treatment plan. How does knowledge management actually fix the problems we just diagnosed? What's really going on here that makes it so effective? Remember that techno-stress we talked about? Well, a good KM system attacks it directly. First, it's all about findability. You can actually find the right data when you need it, which is a lifesaver in this modern data burst we're all living in. It also helps standardize your tools so you don't have 10 different teams using 10 different apps to do the exact same thing. All of that works to reduce the confusion and cognitive overload that just burns people out. And here is the absolute kicker, the part that should make everyone hopeful. Your people are already on board. A study from Jones and his colleagues found that even though organizational silos are a huge problem, a staggering 95% of employees want to break them down. They want to collaborate. The motivation is there. The problem has never been the people. It's the system. They just need the right tools to do it. And that leads to this crucial point. Knowledge management is basically the bridge. Research from folks like Mananda and Nwangsari shows that when an organization gives real support, like a great KM system, employees feel more empowered, more innovative. And guess what? That leads directly to better, more sustainable performance for the whole company. KM is that critical link that makes it all click into place. So, What's the long-term prognosis after we've applied this treatment? Well, by building a strong knowledge management culture, we're not just fixing the problems we have today. We're actually building a fundamentally healthier and more resilient organization for whatever comes next. And the long-term benefits are just huge. A healthy, knowledge-driven company preserves its institutional memory. That means critical skills don't just walk out the door when a veteran employee retires. It builds real agility so the company can pivot and adapt to changes in the market. And maybe most importantly, it creates a stable, meaningful place where people feel like they can do their best work. When you boil it all down, this is the real strategic goal. You want to move from a world where you're constantly putting out fires to one where you're actually preventing them from starting. A proactive organization sees challenges coming, it learns from its own history, and it's always ready for what's around the corner. That's the power of managing knowledge well. And that brings us to the final question I want to leave you with. In this new world of information overload and insane AI acceleration, is your organization deliberately and thoughtfully managing its most valuable asset, its collective knowledge? Or are you letting all that knowledge scattered in 1,000 different places end up managing you? The answer to that question is really going to define how ready you are for the revolution that's already here.